Let's get the view from Greece, joined now by Notης Mariás, an independent Greek MEP and professor. Hey there, thanks for making the time to be with us today. It's really sad, isn't it, to see these protesters out, elderly people that feel so strongly about it. They've got to go on to the streets in their latter years and they get pepper sprayed by the police. What are your thoughts on that?
It's a very sad day for Greece because these pensioners actually they demand to have higher pensions. Their pensions have been cut at least 40% the last years during the austerity measures and the memorandum of understanding. Now at least 60% of the pensioners they get less than 700 euros gross. This means in hand they get only 560 euros. They live, the majority of 40% of them, 43% of them live under the poverty line. And they cannot cope with the difficulties of life. They cannot cope with the situation in Greece because they cannot buy the food they want. And what also they do is they support their families and their children who are unemployed, because we have at least 1.5 million unemployed in Greece. And those people actually are being supported by their grandfathers. That's the problem, who are pensioners.
But so end of the day, I
these
suppose
people actually wanted,
end of the day, I suppose
they wanted
the people,
to demonstrate.
Sorry, so we're cutting across each other. I think everybody would sympathise with these guys, these people, especially at their time of life. But I suppose the other argument is, end of the day, these cuts were made by a government that was elected had to deal with a heck of a crisis, a heck of a problem. It had to do something. Nobody said this was a perfect way forward. I think most people agree that it certainly was not. But the pensioners have got to live in the same society as everyone else. The young mums bringing up their babies, the unemployed people, they've also got to take their fair share of the cuts as well, no? Awkward as it may be.
Well, the government and Mr. Tsipras have said different things in order to be elected in 2015. And also he didn't say that he was going to cut the pensions. And the pensioners now have been receiving less money. And this was not explained to them during the elections period of September of 2015. So the government has not been following its promises towards the pensioners. Also, unemployment is huge now in Greece, and those pensioners actually are supporting their children and grandchildren who are unemployed. What they wanted actually was to meet the Prime Minister, and they faced the anti-riot police. The police brutally hit them. And this is disgrace. They cannot hit all these old people, all these old pensioners who have been working for years and have been paying their their money in order to get a pension. That's why the situation in Greece is deteriorating now, and I don't think that this was an action of the government which is democratic. The action was undemocratic. They hit the pensioners, and this is something, this is a disgrace for the government.
Notice we've got less than a minute, but I just want to put one last thing to you. Say the situation's getting worse. We're hearing of even more unpopular measures going to be brought in now. Maybe you know, a clamp down on employment rights, a clamp down on mortgage protection. What's next here? Where is your country heading? Is it down the pan, or is it going to get itself sorted out sometime sooner, as keeps being promised?
Well, everybody in Greece is working in order to the money to be collected and sent back to the creditors. The majority of the amount of money received and collected by the state has been sent to the creditors. That's the problem. And at the same time, the National Bank of Greece has bought at least 17 billion euros for the quantitative restriction for the QE of Mr. Draghi. So the Bank of Greece, the National Bank of the State Bank of Greece has money for the QE of Mr. Draghi, but has no money for the pensioners. And the question is whether the State Bank of Greece has also bought any bonds of Deutsche Bank. That's a big problem in Greece. There is money for the creditors, there is money for the banks, but there are no money for the employees and also for the pensioners.
We could talk about this for hours and hours and make a whole program on it, but for now I'm afraid we've got to leave it. Thank you for coming on the line. Notis Mariás, independent Greek MEP.
Thank you very much from Strasbourg.
Thank you.